Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is The Listening Mentor. I am the listening mentor. I teach people how to listen at an elevated level so they can find inner peace. And I believe truly when each of us feel inner peace, we are one step closer toward world peace. Joining me each and every week is a dear friend and someone who is also an expert when it comes to listening at an elevated level. She's known as the Harley Street stress expert. Let's welcome Caroline Heward. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you again.
And you too. It's always like the highlight of my Friday.
I really enjoy seeing you and having a chat about these topics that are so critically important, more so today maybe than ever. And Caroline, as you know, there are many people out there who are stressed out. They are angry. They are mad about what's going on in their country, what's going on in their city, their town, their home, their office. And you help people bust their stress. Tell us more.
I sure do. So when we're stressed and can't deal with it in terms of a physical way, it affects us. Either it's physically, emotionally, mentally, or behaviorally. So we'll either thrash around, physically, or our body will be affected physically, like back pain, neck pain, or it might be mentally. It might be mentally in terms of stress, anxiety, or depression, or it could be emotional, sadness, loneliness, heartache. So however it affects you, that's what I help you with. So your symptom, I identify the root cause when it first occurred, and it literally alleviates your symptoms. I've been in Harley Street now since 2005, and I've been doing this work for over 20 years. I offer a free telephone consultation on Zoom, and that's a 30-minute consultation. You can reach out to me on NoMoreStress at live.co.uk, and we'll book in your stress buster consultation and alleviate and literally liberate you from your stress.
Thank you, Caroline. And I'd also like our audience to know that you have a course that's available, and we'll give a little more information about that. Please let people know what this course is about, the title, and we'll discuss where they can find it.
You can find this course on Dr. Jacalyn's courses at Thinkific. And the course is an introduction to the psychology of the chakras. It's a journey through the chakras, a healing journey. And you will learn what they are, what they represent, and you will also learn about how you can heal them, because through awareness, insight, understanding, that's where change is. It's a healing journey because we're also going through in a form of music, but not quite in the way that you might would understand. So it's a journey and it's a transmission, and it will move you into a state of inner balance, inner peace, because it looks at all 7 major chakras, which are related to the 7 major glands of the body. It will leave you feeling rested, peaceful, and give you an incredible night's sleep.
Thank you, Caroline. Our topic for today is one that I don't think we can talk enough about, and I've been talking about it a lot. I'm going to talk about it even more because it's going on every single day around the world. And it is when we decide, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, to judge someone else because they feel differently about something than we feel. vaccinations, abortions, who's in office, what party we belong to, how we style our hair, what food we eat. It goes on and on and on. And for some reason, we think that our opinion is more important than someone else's. And when that happens, we stop listening to the other person. And what happens when you have two people, Caroline, who are in a relationship, whether it's personal, professional, or they happen to be acquaintances having a conversation, and one person judges the other? What kind of behavior can we expect from this?
Judgmental. We can have, I've seen it, certainly on Facebook when Brexit was going on here, there was major fallings out because each person had a different perspective, a different point of view, and they wanted to be right, and essentially it's like arguing with somebody that you can't persuade to have your opinion. And so it causes ricochets of friendships, breakdowns in relationships. I've seen marriages and relationships literally break apart through some of the things that have actually happened in terms of making decisions. So yes, it's very topical. Brexit, vaccinations, masks. There's been a lot of aspects and topics that have made divides in our countries, in our people, in our friendships, our relationships, and our families. And yes, it's very difficult, and it can only cause upset and literal breaking down of relationships, which is not good for anyone.
No, it's definitely not. And we're not suggesting here that people have to think the same way as other people. That's what makes this world an incredible place, is we all have different viewpoints, but we have to treat each other with respect. And that looks a certain way, and we're going to look at a way that it doesn't look. We're going to look at it shouldn't look, I should say. We are going to look at a role play. And again, this is a role play. I'm putting this up. This is a role play. This is not what actually happened. This was directed by me. We have two actors, Alex Kaplan and Madeline Chan, who were gracious enough to film this particular role play. So let's take a look at this. And as we've been doing, we'll watch it once, we'll have a chat, and then we'll watch it again. So again, this is a role play. Take a look.
Tell me something you're working on. Like really, actually something you're working on, and I'll...
Okay. Well, I'm working on Star Child, which is a fairy animation, and a children's story that I wrote, which is about helping the world and having galactic fairy beings and cosmic beings coming from another world that come along to help several awakened human beings to light and love. Because there's evil coming through. Are you listening to me?
I am, but why? That sounds silly.
It just seems that you're not listening to me. But
as a idea, like why would that be good? Why would anybody buy that? I wouldn't buy that. Like, do you think that's actually going to help people?
Well, because we're now in the 7th golden age, which represents the era of the soul, which is about love. Love just uplifts. Love is the key to life. Love is the key to everything. Don't you think? Don't you think that love is the key?
Sure, yeah, but I mean, why would anybody listen to you or read your book? And who are you? That's I don't know who you are. Like I'm your friend, but like if I weren't your friend, I wouldn't know who you are. Why would I read your book? And why would...
Okay. What did you feel as you were watching that, Caroline?
I really felt for Madeline. And I also felt for Alex too. Because when you can see both sides, when you're witnessing and observing both parties, then it's easier to have empathy. But when you're in that situation, I mean, he was lost. It wasn't his world. He didn't really understand it. And because he didn't understand, he had a disrespect for Madeline's perspective, her views, her thoughts. She was very out there, very kind of positive, very fluid, and really flamboyant. And then when she realized that he wasn't listening and wasn't on board, she changed, and it was almost like an upset that she was showing, well, why aren't you listening? Why don't you think that this is a good idea? And that's, sort of, so I saw a myriad of emotions of like sort of being really excited and flowing to being, hang on a minute, sort of anger almost, and then a resentment, well, why don't you think it's going to work? And Alex is there kind of going, well, what is this? And almost being, what we would call devil's advocate, but actually because he didn't understand, he wasn't respectful.
Excellent summary. And this happens all the time. We are passionate about something. We are so excited about it. We go and tell someone, and then they take the wind out of our sails because they stopped listening. Why did they stop listening? Because they didn't understand, because they made a judgment. And that judgment can cause so much pain. We saw how Madeline responded. And of course, I spoke to both Alex and Madeline after the role play. And Madeline actually was taking it personally, even though it was a role play. She actually felt pain from that. And Alex felt awkward even in that role because he knew how much pain that would cause, even in a role play. So it's something that I want people to consider, that you are not going to agree with every single person on every single issue. You don't have to. And you also don't have to make it into an argument. You don't have to insult the other person. You don't have to take the wind out of their sails. You can listen without judging them.
I have something that I say to people, especially as there's been so many different issues to cause divide, is that I'm respectful about where everybody sits in their decisions and what they choose to do. Just because I choose something different doesn't mean that I'm wrong or they're wrong. I'm respectful about everyone's choices. What I do find difficult is when people say, well, why won't you do this? Why won't you take this decision? What's the matter with you? And that's when there's a lack of respect for my decisions, because they might go against the grain in some instances, or against the flow of most people. And so it is about being respectful. That's the word I use. I usually say I'm respectful about where everyone is and where they sit in the decisions that they make. And I don't try and convince anyone to take my way. I just listen. And that's the key, to listen with compassion and to listen without judgment, to not make them sway or change their mind, literally to listen.
Thank you, Caroline. Great points. And in addition, I also think there's something that we lose as adults. When we're children, we're playful, we're curious, we're interested. And as we get older, we're not as curious anymore. So in that scenario, and we're going to watch it again, Madeline has a project and Alex doesn't understand it and thinks it's ridiculous. So we act like this sometimes because we're afraid that we don't understand. And so what do? We go on the offense. So instead of feeling like, oh, I don't understand what she's even talking about, I feel like an idiot, we go on the offensive and insult the person, shut the person down, whatever it might be. So he could have chosen, if we were doing a different role play, he could have chosen to be curious. And he could have, after she finished, he could have said, I heard what you were sharing. I don't really understand, but I'd like to learn more. What can you tell me?
Absolutely. I find that when you are curious, and that's how we are when we're very young children, is that we learn. That's how we soak up everything, because we don't have, if we're only looking at our perspective and what we know and our point of view, we never grow, we never learn. And I'm what I call the curious student, the lifelong student. I'm always looking and exploring. I don't have to take everything on board. I don't have to say, hey, that's really good and like everything. But it's good to go and have a look and then make a decision. Is it right for me? Isn't it right for me? But whoever showed it to me was right for them. So, and that's something else that I share with people when I speak to them, that my perspectives in terms of my training might not suit them. It might be something that's so off the wall that it's not recognizable to them. But sometimes some things that I might share, they'll go, I like that. That's a really interesting idea. I'd never thought about it like that before. And so, yes, curiosity, that's the childlikeness in us. And that's how we grow. That's how we mold and we move in different ways. And to be open, that's my perspective, to be open, to look and then see what's there on the other side is the most interesting way to live.
I agree with you. I think one of the greatest joys that I've found by starting this platform and continuing running this platform is that I'm always given an opportunity to learn from someone from some part of the world, even if it's here in the United States. It's something that is a gift to me to be able to be curious and to learn from other people. And I remember when I was growing up, the neighborhood, pretty much everybody looked the same. Everybody looked the same. There wasn't a lot of diversity. And I went to New York City for a holiday or something, and I was at this outside cafe, and everybody looked different. Everybody was speaking different languages, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. I love this. Whereas some other people are intimidated or judged because they don't understand what the other people are saying. Why do you have to understand? They're not speaking to you. They're speaking to each other in their native tongue. I just think it's fascinating. So our goal today in this show is for people to look at themselves. There's no judging. No, we're not judging you. We're not judging anyone. We're just asking you to look at yourself and how you're showing up. And are you showing up the way you would want someone to show up for you? And have you been in a situation where someone judged you? And if so, how did that feel? And then after the encounter was over, did those feelings just go away? Or were they still with you? And when you see that person the next time, you remember, wow, he didn't like what I was doing. He put me down. And then you feel what? Angry, right? Now you're judging that person, and so on and so on and so on. It just continues. Let's take a look at part of the clip again and see if we notice anything else or if anything else is coming up for us. Here we go.
Tell me something you're working on, like really, actually something you're working on, and I'll.
Okay. Well, I'm working on Star Child, which is a fairy animation, and a children's story that I wrote, which is about helping the world and having galactic fairy beings and cosmic beings coming from another world that come along to help several awakened human beings to light and love, because there's evil coming through. Are you listening to me?
I am, but why? That sounds silly.
It just seems that you're not listening to me.
But as a silly idea, like why would that be good? Why would anybody buy that?
Okay, I want to stop it there. Now, did you happen to notice that he interrupted her?
Yes, I was about to say that.
He interrupted her and he cut her off.
And that left her feeling, because it was a few times, and that's what prompted Madeline to say, are you listening to me? Because they were then speaking at each other and neither of them were listening, because they were both speaking. And he was kind of going, what? And then she said, are you listening? And so they were both speaking at each other. And when you're doing that, which happens, both of you want to get your oar in, sort of your two penneth in. And so when that happens, nobody's listening because you're in your own conversation. And also I noticed that he was rolling his eyes, and that was a judgment, and I looked really closely at Alex's eyes, and he was like, and that's the judgment. That's the body language gestures where he's literally rolling his eyes, saying, "Oh, for heaven's sake." So it's not what he said. It was actually that he wasn't looking and literally in a space of judgment because he was doing that. And if the two people were in the same room talking to each other face to face, that would be so disconcerting for Madeline to have that experience of him rolling his eyes at her.
Exactly. And yet, how many times are we thinking of doing something, we're working on something, we have an idea, and we share it with someone, and they tell us, that's a stupid idea. That's never going to work. Why are you wasting my time with this? I've heard it myself when I started this platform. What do you think, you're going to be a TV host? You think you think you can sing? All the things that people put me down about. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. And I remember who those people are. I don't judge them, but I think to myself, something in them that's not totally dealt with, it's coming up, and they're putting it back on me.
That's absolutely right. And in my profession, we call that projection, that they're projecting their inadequacies or their stuff onto you. And so it isn't yours. And when somebody does that, if you kind of say, well, I'm not taking that on, because that is their stuff. And I would say that that's a good way, a good strategy when somebody kind of dumps their stuff onto you, giving you all their judgments about their inadequacies and puts them onto you. Just actually inside say, you know what? I'm not taking that on. That is definitely your stuff. And when you do that from an energetic perspective, you don't have to say, out loud. It can be something that you decide. Then you don't have the experience of that feeling, that uncomfortable rejection, because that's what it is. It's a rejection. And they're just displaying their experiences of rejection onto you. So the choice is that we don't have to take somebody else's stuff on.
Exactly. And if we can learn this at an early age, think of all of the issues and the years of self-doubt and lack of confidence that you wouldn't have to deal with because you were put down, you were insulted. Think about when you were in school and a teacher told you you couldn't do something, you weren't good at something. And then for decades, maybe you really believed you weren't. And then all of a sudden you try it. It's like, wow, I could have been doing this all along because someone judged us and put us in their place, so to speak.
I remember feeling that when I was at school. I wasn't a very confident child. I was good, but I wasn't confident. I didn't feel it inside. And when I went to college, I just completely changed because I was doing something that I enjoyed. And when I went back to see some school teachers, I remember my maths teacher I got on really, really well with. So this is a long time ago. And he turned around to me. I think I was about 17, so I'd left school about a year. And he said, "I can't believe the change in you." He said that little unconfident girl has blossomed into a very confident young woman. And it was something that really, it left me with a ginormous, beautiful impression of, he noticed that I changed. And I felt it because I was applauded for my skills, and I was doing something that I was enjoying and doing well at it, whereas at school, I was never very good at maths and I was good at history. We have our subjects that we like and we don't like. But, that particular teacher, he was a maths teacher, he made me enjoy it because he taught me the things that I wasn't sure about and didn't judge. And that's the difference when somebody is not judging you and just giving of their skill and their teaching to you, we blossom. And that's the key. That makes a beautiful teacher and a beautiful experience from the student's perspective too.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. I think also judgment comes into play when we're having a bad day as one option. When we don't feel right in our body, when something's not going right in our lives, and someone comes and shares something with us at that moment, and all of a sudden it's kind of like, wait a minute, I have this problem, this problem, this problem. Now you're telling me about this stupid idea, and it just sort of snowballs. And that's when I encourage people to ask for permission to share. Would this be a good time for me to tell you about my new project? No, because I'm in a really bad mood, whatever it might be. And then the person knows, you know what, this is not a good time. I don't want to tell this person because I don't want to go down that road with that person.
It's really, really simple. And yet it's not done. We don't think. I frequently say it's about thinking and about being respectful to the other person, noticing the nonverbal cues, or the fact that they are busy and they don't really have time for you. I notice even when I call up somebody and I say, oh, I've called at a bad time. And they turn around and say, how do you know that? I says, well, it sounds like you're busy. They think I'm a little bit psychic. But I can feel it because of the way that they answer the call. They're yes and hello. They sound preoccupied. And I'm usually right. It's kind of interesting how I just say, oh, when's a good time to call you? Because I can hear that it's not a good time right now. And they usually say, well, how do you know that? And it's about being perceptive, really listening to the tone of the voice. You'll know somebody's really open, when they pick up the phone and go, hi, how are you? How can I help you? You know that that's a welcoming hello. So even though we can't see the person, even on a call, we can feel that because of the tone, of the vibrancy, because everything is frequency, everything is energy.
It is energy. And when we are at a negative, lower vibration energy level, sometimes I've seen this happen over and over again. You see the behavior, you feel that the person is not in a good place at that moment. And then you start asking them a bunch of questions. Well, what's wrong with you? What's your problem today? As though that is going to help anything, right?
I used to have that. I was a very social person at school. And I realized that I couldn't have an off day, or not feel so great, because I did have that experience. Oh, what's the matter with you? What's wrong with your face? What's happened? What's going on? But I wasn't allowed. I didn't feel that I was allowed to have those off days. So if I was having an off day, I just didn't go out. I didn't socialize, and because of the responses I used to experience, apart from being with really, really close friends. And that was because I was normally very happy-go-lucky, very vibrant, very social, very chatty with everybody, in terms of my interactions with people. So if I wasn't experiencing a good day, if I was feeling a bit off, I realized that, that's not my personality that they know. And so they didn't like it. So but we do have that, people that are very vibrant, very lively, that, we do have that experience where some people are really down and really blue and really miserable. And we know that, and so that we expect it. So when they're high and bubbly, it's a nice surprise, so it's behavior. It's, we're all human. And it's important to remember that everyone can have a good day and they can have an off day. They can have a day where they're in laughter, and they can have a day when they're not in laughter, when they're kind of being a bit more normal, mundane. Domesticity, and we're all human, we're all going through these different challenges. So I'm very honoring of where everybody is in their day and in what they're experiencing at that time.
And that's a perfect reason why we ask for permission. And if it's not, I know you had come up with another term for it, I believe, but if we are respectful to someone, then that means the world. And I'll give an example, which I've shared before. We were live streaming from Monday to Friday. I'm running 2 businesses and have a song that I need to have produced, writing a book that has to be finished. And I could go on, and then creating 27 broadcasts for the next week, and then closing up the ones, all the things have to be done. So I'm tired. By the time it comes to Friday at 5 o'clock, I am not in the mood to speak to anyone. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just totally I have nothing left to give. So if someone wants to have a conversation with me, no, it's not going to be a good time. You're not going to get the results. Not that I'm doing it intentionally, but my mind, my body, my soul is saying, hey, you need to take some time for yourself and go do whatever that is. And typically that's taking a walk, or it's going to the gym, or it's something that I'm doing myself that I'm able to escape for a little while.
Well, that's why I do my meditations and my dancing and my chanting, and I do my thing. You know, I call it my indulgences, and whatever your indulgences are, it doesn't matter what they are. It is appropriate for you to take that space, and I feel it's extremely healthy to say, no, I need to do something for myself, and take the space that you require, because that's about boundaries. You know, if we're not honoring our own boundaries, then everybody walks all over us, and then we get frustrated that somebody did that. And that's because we didn't honor our own boundaries in what was right for what we want to do and what we need. And it's important to always firstly respect what you require, your boundaries, and then the other person will respect yours too.
Yes, you are so right. When it comes to setting boundaries, I think there are times people share with me where they have a difficulty with that because they haven't done it in the past. And you're with the same people on a regular basis, and now all of a sudden you're setting boundaries, and people are going, what? They're, who she thinks she is, or where did this come, or what's going on with you? But eventually they're going to get it and they'll respect you for it. It's just a matter of you taking what you need for self-care.
That's a really good word, self-care. It is totally about self-care, because if you don't take care of you, the other person won't take care of you. And that's where it starts. It always starts with you. So how you're treating yourself is how other people will treat you. So if you let everybody walk all over you in terms of your boundaries, then it's because you're walking all over your own boundaries too. So when you set how you want to experience and feel with others, others will be respectful. But it is a teaching game too, because especially if people have been around you for a long time, family, for instance, or very close friends, they will kind of walk all over it, because that's what we do until we start to understand about what the other person needs. But this is how we grow. You know, we don't go to a school and learn this. We have to work it out. And that's important to look after ourselves. Self-care is the key, because if we're not taking care of ourselves in every way that we need, then who else is going to do it?
And that's a great question. I can't tell you how many times I've met with friends, male or female, they say, I want to find someone who will take care of me. Well, that's attractive. A grown baby. That's just what everyone's looking for. And my comment is, you have to take care of yourself, and it has to be two wholes coming together, and not just something that's broken that needs repair. We don't find that to be attractive or something that's going to last for a long time and be fulfilling, do we?
I'm totally in agreement with you. Two whole people that have everything, you know, that are being independent and loving who they are, then attract each other. If you're only half of you when you're looking for the other half, you know, have you heard that expression, I'm looking for my other half, or this is my other half? It's that they're not feeling a whole person. And I hear that it's very often that people say that, oh, this is my better half, this is my other half, this is my, you know, my partner. But actually, what about this is my buddy, this is my friend, my confidant. And you'll be saying those kind of things because they are within you. We will see what's in others, and that's within ourselves. So what we're looking for in others is within us. And if we're loving ourselves and respecting and honoring ourselves, we will find that others that we meet will feel the same, and they will be in the same space, because everything is frequency. So if they are whole, then you are whole. Two wholes make even more than one. We make a greater experience for each other.
Yes, imagine someone coming to you, a possible suitor, and saying, Caroline, I'm half a man. Here I am. Which half is it? I don't know.
I'm not very sure about that. I'm called a very independent. People say to me, I know you're very independent, and I am. I've lived on my own for a long time. That doesn't mean to say I don't want to share my life with someone, because I would love to. But that other person has to be as independent, and doing some things that maybe I might not be involved in, so that we have independent lives, and then we share the stuff that we want to share together. And that's true relationship that works. If you're depending on each other for everything, then you're going to feel that you've lost your own identity. And I've had that experience myself, where I lost who I was, what I liked, what I didn't like. I forgot, because I got lost in the shadow of the other person. And so I had to work out what I liked, what I didn't like, what I enjoyed. And now I'm having such a lovely time indulging in the things that I love to do, and I don't have to answer to anybody. Which is, it's really lovely to be in that space, that you truly love who you're being and what you're doing. And then you'll find someone else in the same space. This is how we find the match made in heaven.
I agree with you. And it just makes me think about that saying in alignment with what we're discussing is I need someone to complete me. Now, I'm pretty complete. I feel very complete, actually. And I'm pretty happy with who I am and what I'm doing. I love my life, and I don't need to be completed. I figured it out. I've worked on it for years, and I'm aware of who I am, what I need. And I have to say, in years past, that was not the case. It takes a lot of work and a lot of self-reflection, and I'm grateful that I got to this point. It doesn't mean I'm not still curious or I don't still want to learn. I am.
Absolutely. I used to always seek approval when I was younger, and that was something that, with the confidence and the choices, because I always went outside of my own comfort, of groups of people, to learn different things and to explore. And I stopped needing at some point the approval of someone else that I was close to make these different choices, because I was finding other peer groups. If you're only in the one peer group, this is where that approval seeking can happen, because there is a hierarchy if you're always in that one group. I've always looked outside of my own family, friendships, peer groups, and always found new peer groups. So eventually I got to the point of not needing approval. And that was something that was commented on. One of my really close friends said, "You've stopped seeking approval. That's really interesting. And, you never ask for my permission anymore. You never ask me what I think. You just tell me." And that's, that there was a huge shift in my behavior, because I felt complete.
Congratulations on your journey. That is outstanding. And it's hard to believe we've come to the end of the show already, because we could go on and on and on. So
how does that happen?
I don't know. And I also want our audience to know that Caroline is exceptionally good at leading guided meditations. And if you're interested, we put out a guided meditation. I'm going to put it here when you join the Elevated Listening community. And do you want to speak a little bit about your strength and your passion for meditation? And you mentioned it before, and I'll type up this banner.
Cool. Meditation, sometimes people think that, they have to arm on a mountaintop and be somewhere else and they don't have time for it. But meditation can be short. And in the when you subscribe, I do quite short meditations, kind of 10-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute meditations. And it's quick because I want you to have an experience of how quick it is to get present, to literally move from the thinking conversational mind to silence, reconnecting to your heart and reconnecting to your five senses. And essentially, when there is no mind, when there is no thought, there is meditation. And this is what our children do. Our children are thinking and analyzing. And essentially, it's a journey to calm the mind, reconnect to the body, and literally relax each part of the body in different ways. I'm always sharing different types of meditation. So I mix it up quite a bit so that there's different experiences, so it's not always the same thing. But meditation is really being present in what you're doing. And it is quick because I make it that way. And I look forward to sharing those meditations with you when you subscribe to the Listening Mentor subscription.
Thank you very much, Caroline. I appreciate that. And the link to join is drjacalyn.com/join. So do join us. We would love that. Caroline, how can people reach out to you, and who would you like to contact you for that free 30-minute Zoom session?
If you're stressed, anything that you're complaining about, whether it's physical, ache and pain, emotional, sadness, loneliness, heartache, relationship issues, or whether it's mental, so stress, anxiety, depression. So whatever it is that's going on that's not working for you, so whatever you're complaining about, reach out by email on NoMoreStress@live.co.uk. Describe the problem to me in an email and let me know where you're from, and let's schedule a time on Zoom. Because obviously this is a global channel. So let me know where you're from and we will schedule a time that works. And we will literally bust your stress in that Zoom call. I look forward to helping you when you are ready. Reach out. Whatever the problem is, I know I can help you and you'll get an incredible night's sleep after the call. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. I really appreciate it. All right, I will let you go. I left a message for you there in chat, and have a chat with you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend. Good night.
You too. Bye for now. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for listening, wherever you are. I really do appreciate it. We have 2 shows coming up right after this. The next one is Loving Longevity with Annie Bush. And following that is Pet Psychic Amina with, guess who? Pet Psychic Amina. Yes, exactly. So if you would like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and book your session. Our YouTube channel is USA Global TV. And I keep saying this, it is just shocking to me that according to the analytics for YouTube, 100% of the audience watching are men. 100%. And their ages from 45 to 54. So I find that hard to believe, but that's what the analytics show. So women, ladies, anybody, however you identify, please go and subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you. If you'd like to work with me, if you'd like to bring me to your organization, your school, your corporation, and have me teach your team how to listen at an elevated level, I would love to do that. It is my pride, my passion, my joy to help people learn how to listen at an elevated level. You can go to my website, drjacalyn.com. That's right, I have 2 websites, usaglobaltv.com, drjacalyn.com. All right, that's all for now. I've got to run over to the other studio. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you. If you're finding value in these role plays, please do reach out and let me know. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to be in any of the role plays, please let me know that as well. drjacalyn.com. Thanks for now.